Chapter 12. Till you turn to me, a knight betrayed by love. Funny how we can look back to yesterday and realize how silly it was. It seems like another lifetime. Why do you follow him and admire him so when he's so mean to you? Sonomi asked. I don't know. There's just something about him. Nadesco's eyes turned a dreamy sea green. There are times when I'm so fed up with him and have had enough, yet Ryurin-san, Sakura thought, there's something about Syaoran. Suddenly, Nadesco's eyebrows furrowed as she clenched her fist furiously. Yet, I hate him. Yesterday, he called me clumsy just because I tripped on my shoelaces. Sonami, sweat dropped, eyeing 10 band-aids slapped onto one of Nadesco's knees. Nadesco ranted. He laughed at me because I tripped. Well, I couldn't help it. When I use my second sight and concentrate, I am coordinated. But if I don't focus, I get all clumsy again. Then he slipped a snowball down my sweater, and I got scared out of my wits. I thought it was a ghost or something. And another time, my half of the 5-4 scroll disappeared, so I was so upset and worried. Ryurin scolded and bickered at me about being so irresponsible. Then it turned out he had taken it while I was not paying attention. He gave it back to me, and when I reproached him, you know what he said? It's your fault for not looking after it, and not even able to keep me from stealing it. If it's this easy for me, think how easy it'll be for the enemy. He's so mean. She took a deep breath. Now, what was I saying? Lee-san is no good. Don't hang around him. His pretty blue eyes are evil. He'll only hurt you in the end. Hurt me? Nadesco twisted her long violet hair around her slender finger. Yes. Don't you remember him saying, I'll destroy you to get what I want? It wasn't that extreme. No, I don't think he would use violence to me. Not anymore, I think. I think I trust him now. Nadesco closed her eyes, remembering one snowy winter night when an unknown force tied her to the ground. When she was about to get attacked, he had leapt forward and whisked her away. Her head was buried in his smooth Chinese battle costume of navy blue. His heartbeat was strong. That's not what I mean, Sonomi said in a murmur. He'll hurt something deeper. Stupid! If you can't help, stay out of the way! Ryurin shoved Nadesco away as a whip snarled out in front of them. He blocked with his sword and jumped back a few steps. Just then, the whip lashed through his long chestnut brown tail. With a swish, it landed onto the ground. For a moment, he stood blankly. Then he shook his short hair a few times. Now it looked like any guy's hair, even if the dark brown bangs that fell into his eyes were glossy and striking. Another lash was snaking to his neck. Without thinking, Nadesco's emerald eyes widened, then flashed, and in a poof of fiery flames, the whip disappeared. In a nervous voice, she stammered, See? I can be helpful sometimes. Yeah, thanks. You saved my neck. He didn't say it grudgingly. You always save my neck. I'm sorry. About what? Bending down, Nadesco picked up the smooth, horsetail-like chestnut hair from the soft snow and wrapped it in her handkerchief. Your hair, it was so cool. Of course, it looks good now, too. What else would be expected from the most popular guy among girls at Seiju High? With quizzical sapphire eyes, Ryurin said, I don't care about my hair. It was kind of annoying anyway, but... He cast his bright eyes down. It is the traditional Lee hairstyle for men, a symbol of those who passed a test for sorcery and magic skills. I passed it when I was 16. The long hair, which is just an imitation of Clow Reed, just showed that I passed the ordeal of sorcery. Shrugging his shoulder, he commented lightly, No, less time in front of the mirror. Really, I don't see how the elders manage it. My uncle, who's in his late 30s, actually the only person I confide within the Council of the Lee clan, since he's the youngest after me, says that it's an honor for someone my age, but good riddance. So, you mean you're the youngest person that passed the test? Modestly, he muttered, I guess. Most Lees try for the ordeal of sorcery around their late 30s, 40s. The Lee Council is so boring. It consists of elders, yet, despite his age, great uncle, head of the council, still can beat me at a sword fight. Why did you come here on such an important mission when you're the youngest? Me? His sapphire eyes glanced down. I wanted a change in life. I have no father or mother. I was sick of the Lee clan. I wanted to do something that would make everyone proud of the name Lee Ryurin. But I also wanted to prove to myself that I could accomplish something. Then he looked up at Nadesco and reached out his hand, as if to stroke her face, then dropped it again. Quietly, he said, mostly, I wanted to escape. Nadesco gulped in the brief glimpses of Ryurin's life, with much wonder and awe. She didn't even notice the slash on her shoulder. With keen ice-blue eyes, Ryurin noticed it. Immediately, his wistful manner disappeared, as soon as it came. This brings me to another point. As you can see, I've had more experience and training than you. Therefore, I am more able to stand up and protect myself against danger. You're in danger, Nadesco, not only today, but before, and will continue to be in danger. So what are you getting at? That a thief girl, as you call me, is nothing compared to you, the youngest Lee master? Her eyes flashed. You don't need to get all touchy. All I'm trying to say is that I think it is better for you to back out of this before you are seriously injured. Look at your arm. You can get a scar or even something more serious. Look at your face, your happy life. You can ruin it. So you think I'm only a face, a doll. It doesn't matter about my duty or my role? Am I that much of a nuisance to you? I'm sorry, but I'm trying my best. I apologize if I don't have as much experience as you. My mother, who had the sight, died before she could teach me anything about it. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying it's not too late to back out. I won't reproach or look down on you or anything. In fact, I will be relieved. Well, you're wrong. It's too late. Think reasonably, Nadesco. Suddenly, her emerald eyes blurred. The first time I met you face to face, you called me a nuisance to get rid of. Guess nothing's changed after all. My hopes are too high. I'm still that pesky thief girl in your eyes. That's harsh. I haven't called you thief girl for ages now. Why are you being so difficult about this issue? Don't you understand what I'm saying? If it's too late to back off, I'm trapped too far in the other end of this. It has become my fate, which I cannot escape from. Besides, all was silent. She blurted out, I like you, Ryurin. If Nadesco had been facing him, she would have seen the note of astonishment in Ryurin's ocean blue eyes. She covered her mouth with an uneasy feeling which told her that she had made a terrible mistake. Well, I'm flattered. How many hearts have you stolen with those innocent emerald eyes? I'm very sorry but I can't say that I have the same feelings for you, Ryurin replied, his voice dripping with sarcasm and mockery, refusing to look her in the eye. Nadesco cast her eyes down. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that, but now I realize that was why I didn't want to back out. Laughing bitterly, he said, Don't worry, darling. You would get over your silliness in a snap. I won't. I've already tried before. Anyway, what will an innocent, sheltered girl like you know about feelings? You've always been protected and cared for since you were a baby. You've endeavored in an environment of love, care, friends, and pure happiness. What will you know about black sheep like me? With each word, his tone got more bitter. Well, go home now. Your family will be waiting for you. With a careless shrug, he left her, trying to gulp down the tightness in his throat. You're wrong. You're ever so wrong, Ryurin. I've tried, yet my feelings won't change. Of course, what would a perfect guy like you want from an immature girl like me? I wish I didn't say anything, so that things would remain the way it was before, so I could always fight by your side. I will always love you, Ryurin, and wait till you turn to me. She trailed off. Nadeshiko fingered his sliced-off hair with pensiveness as he faded into the distance. Blinking water from her eye, Sakura woke up. To her surprise, wells of hot tears were pouring out of her eyes. With the sleeve of her pajamas, she wiped away the wetness. Her hair was sweat-clamped. He rejected her feelings. A pain grasped Sakura's heart. She coughed. Wait till you turn to me. Ooh. Good morning, Sakura. It's so cold these days. Malin snuggled into her winter coat as she got comfortable on an icy chair at school. Where's Lee-kun? Asked Tomeo. I don't know. He left earlier than me today because he had morning soccer practice. Anyway, how's your guys' violin quartet coming along? The concert's a few days. Sakura wrinkled her nose. For the winter concert, Eran, Syaoran, and her, and this girl from another class had a violin piece, and so far, it was sounding awful. By the way, Sakura? Malin paused. Yes? You look awful today. Your eyes are all red and puffy. Rubbing her eyes, she muttered, I had a bad dream. That's all. Between classes, Sakura headed towards the music class, swinging her violin case. Then a beautiful, melancholy melody drifted down the hallway. It was Pachelbel's canon. The soft notes and chords of the piano stirred something in her heart. Who is it? Who's playing the canon? Our winter concert piece so beautifully. She peeked into the music classroom to see who it was. She glimpsed a dark brown head bent over the piano. Syaoran's eyes were closed as he ran his long fingers gracefully over the keys. He looked so calm and composed. Unlike her, it seemed as if he had no worries. She looked away. Just then, Syaoran jammed all the keys down, creating a discordant, nerve-breaking sound, and slammed the piano lid shut with a bam. Sakura jumped, hair standing on its end. If she had seen him just then, when he opened his fiery amber eyes, she would have seen anger and frustration, not composure. Then a girl with wavy, thick, purplish hair walked by. Sakura swerved behind a corner. Syaoran-kun, Erika called, looking over his shoulder. Good. I was looking for you. Why? He asked, tidying up some music papers. Are you going with anyone to the Winter Wonderland? Me? No. Then, can you go with me? Gripping her case tighter, Sakura held her breath for the answer as she leaned against the wall. Syaoran raised one of his dark eyebrows. For a moment, his amber eyes flickered to the door, where someone was standing. Sure, I guess, he answered uncaringly. Okay, Erika smiled, tossing back her luscious wavy hair. By the way, someone's at the door. Her blank, golden-brown eyes glanced at Sakura's equally expressionless, pale green eyes. She turned around and walked away, faster and faster, away from the music room. Hey, Mei-Lin-tian, are you going to come with us on Sunday? Almost everyone's going shopping for Christmas presents and party dresses tomorrow, Tomeo asked. You guys are coming too, right? She asked Eran and Erika. They nodded. I'm going to bring Syaoran-kun along and make him pick my dress, Mei-Lin said. Why? Asked Erika. Smiling mysteriously, she answered, You'll see. Fastening her velvet red ribbon around her ponytail, Sakura grabbed her bag and ran downstairs. Bring me back a present, Kira-chan called. Okay. Quietly, she muttered, if I have any money left over, that is. Hello, Sakura-chan, Tomeo said when Sakura came out. Eran and Erika greeted her too. Ooh, I love your outfit, Sakura-chan, Erika exclaimed. Sakura had on a plaid skirt and a soft gray V-neck sweater with a red ribbon trimmings plus leather boots. At first, Sakura was taken aback by the sudden friendliness, but then she answered, Thanks. Now, we have to stop by Maylin's house. We'll meet all the others when we get there, Tomeo said. Hey, you guys, Maylin waved when they had reached Lee's apartment complex. Wait, Syaoran will be down soon. Sheesh, he takes longer to get ready than I do. Ugh, gosh, I had such a hard time convincing him to come. Sorry I kept you guys waiting. Slipping his key in his pocket, Syaoran stepped out of the building. Everyone stared at him, their mouths hanging open. What? Syaoran shoved his hands in his pocket, starting to sweat heavily. Clearing her throat, Tomeo said, I keep forgetting how well you dress, for street clothes, since we always wear uniforms. And it's been a long time since we hung out outside of school. Clearly embarrassed, Syaoran blushed and looked down. He really hadn't meant to dress up. It's just what I grabbed from my closet, he mumbled. At that moment, he was wearing khaki pants, a beige sweater with a black stripe across the front. Over that, a trendy half coat reaching above his knees. Not many guys could carry it well, but he could with his height. On his feet were black leather shoes, and around his neck was a silver chain. Plus, he didn't even realize that he dressed good. Yeah, Maylin said. You only change about 5 times before coming out, and you have a full-length mirror, not to mention a walk-in closet. I do not, Syaoran shouted. I don't even let you come into my room. You're right. You don't act like a Prince syndrome here. Then she grinned wickedly. But back home is a different matter. What are you talking about? To soothe Syaoran's pride, Erika interrupted. But where does he get such good coordination taste? Oh, I wish Eran would rub off a little. Eran glared at his twin, for he prided the fact that he was good-looking. Smiling, Maylin stated, Well, Syaoran happens to have 4 older sisters and... 4? Erika squeaked. Yeah, and he's the youngest, so... Flashback to Hong Kong. Van Rin, dear sister, how do I look? Li Futi, the oldest Li sister, swirled around. I have a date tonight. Tilting her head typically, Van Rin said, I don't know. Somehow I think the shoes match with the dress. I just don't think they match. Li Shifa butted in. No, I think that you should put your hair down, not up. Guys like tumbling down hair. No, I think she should do it up, Li Fei Mei interrupted. Guys like sexy hair. Slapping her forehead, Futi exclaimed, You guys are absolutely no help. Mother! Li Yeilin, the mother, looked skeptically at her daughter. I think that you need advice from a male. A male? Futi cocked her head, then called, Oh, little brother! Do you think my shoes match with my bag, and my hair should be up, and red matches with purple, or should I wear this bracelet and... Why do you ask me? Little Syaoran, age 7, asked crossly. You're a guy. And by the time he was 9. And this goes with this, not this. See how the colors complement each other? And you should wear these shoes, and this bag creates a classic look. Syaoran stepped out of his sister's closet with a pile of accessories. Thank you, Syaoran, dear. You're such a sweetie. Futi patted his head, and he scowled. Maylin grinned. So, that's how he has such good eye. He's good at art too. Sometimes. Once his art piece won first prize back in Hong Kong at our school. He drew Syaoran glared at Mei Lin, yet he felt a pain when he remembered that watercolor painting he did of a girl with wispy golden brown hair and startling emerald eyes. Mei Lin flipped back her jet black hair. It's so cute, though. He doesn't even realize he has good taste, but that's why I always want to take him along when we are shopping. Trying to stop his face from turning red, Syaoran muttered, "Will you stop talking like I'm not here?" They all laughed, and together they rode the train to the city. Really? Christmas is in the air, Erika exclaimed, taking in all the decorations of tinsels, light bulbs, wreaths, and Christmas trees. In the shopping mall, they were playing Christmas carols. They met all the others. Chiharu, Takashi, Nako, and Rika already had bags of presents. As they were passing by a jewelry store, a flickering light caught Sakura's eye. She pressed her face against the glass window to see what it was. When she saw it, she caught her breath. It was a tiny, clear crystal ball, about the size of her pinky nail. Inside of it embedded a glimmering light. Taking a close look, Sakura realized it was like a glistening star, the size of a speck. The charm was fastened with a thin, silvery necklace chain. She took a deep breath to take in its mysterious beauty. "What is it, Sakura-chan?" asked Tomeo. "Wait a second, okay?" Sakura entered the store to ask about the necklace. Strange. I don't remember having that necklace in my store," the salesman said when Sakura asked about it. Oh well, it's a very beautiful thing." But when he named the price, Sakura gasped, then turned back disappointed. As she walked out, she took one last glance at the glowing necklace and left. "Well?" Mei Lin asked. Sakura shook her head. It wasn't important. They left to their next stop. Syaoran looked around his shoulder and stared at the crystal necklace. Okay, now I bought everyone's present. All I have to do is to buy my party dress. Mei Lin tried to balance all her bags. "Sakura-chan, are you all right? You seem awfully quiet today," Tomeo asked. Sorry, I'm just thinking a lot." Something struck Tomeo, and she stared back sympathetically at her friend. Sakura continued pouting and clenching her fist. "I'm thinking a lot about whether I should buy Oto-san another necktie this year, and if Oni-chan would mind if his present is cheaper than usual, and if I'll have enough money left over to buy Kiro-chan some low-fat chocolate." Tomeo and Mei Lin sweat dropped. Mei Lin laughed. "I thought it was something more serious." "Serious? Like what?" Sakura asked with round eyes. "Like..." Mei Lin nervously twisted her dark hair. Changing the subject, she demanded, "Where in the world is Syaoran? I wanted to ask him if the red dress looks better or the purple one does. And I can't decide if I want to buy the pretty shoes with the sequins. Oh, I need to borrow more money off of him." "Did you already run out of money?" Erika asked as she walked into the conversation. "It's not fair. Why do I have to carry all your stuff?" Syaoran came tottering behind, overflowing with enormous shopping bags. "'Cause you're my Ni-chan, that's why." Sheesh. I can't wait till you get a boyfriend. Then I'm going to make him carry all of this. "Syaoran-kun!" Erika ignored Syaoran and waved to Syaoran. "We're all here." "Ooh, please let me borrow some money," Mei Lin begged. "I don't have any money left," Syaoran replied, fingering his leather wallet full of money. "Liar, you're filthy rich." "I know." "No, I'm not. What happened to all the money I gave you?" "I used it all up. Pretty please." "No, I don't have any money left over. That is, if you do want to have electricity, heating, food, etc. for the rest of December and January." "You meanie. Then can I please borrow your credit card, please, just this once?" "You have a credit card?" Erika exclaimed. "He does. He stole it from his mother." And Mei Lin was so pissed when she found out. Mei Lin said, "And he's so cheap. He takes care of all the bills and money. He doesn't trust me." That's 'cause if I gave you the money, we'd sleep on the streets, Syaoran said. You'd use it all up in 5 minutes. Hey! Melanie shouted, hands on her hips. They all stifled giggles. On the side, Tomeo whispered to Sakura, It's like a father and an older brother to a kid or something. Phew. All the shopping's over and it's nighttime. Sakura wiped her forehead. It was an exhausting day, yet she was satisfied with all the presents, except... Hey, it's snowing! Melanie pointed up to the sky as they walked out. They all glanced up to see the crystal snowflakes drifting to the ground, faster and faster. Already, the roads were carpeted with a layer of cotton white snow. It was already dark and foggy. Their breath created misty clouds. I hope the trains didn't shut down, Syaoran said. When they got to the station, they found that the trains had shut down operation for the night. How are we going to get back home? Erika asked, shifting the weight of her shopping bags to her other arm. I'll call my bodyguards, Tomeo said. She tried her handphone. Hey, it's not working. Here, I'll try mine. Syaoran whipped out his silver cell phone. He shook his head after dialing. Since when did you get a handphone? Melanie asked. I want one too. Ooh, give me your number, Erika exclaimed. I'll message you. That's not important here. Right now, we're standing in the city and we have to get back to Tomeda, Syaoran said. They walked back to the street and were surprised by the blast of a snowstorm. It was hard to walk and see in the thick snow, which poured as if there was a hole in the sky. Why don't we catch a taxi? Asked Sakura with chattering teeth as she rubbed her arms. Then their faces turned blue. Even with all their money put together, they still wouldn't have enough to pay, since they used it all up. After walking a little, Sakura suddenly said, Hey, that's strange. I feel like this is not the same street anymore. I just can't see. The large flakes created a big, white blur. Here, why don't we run for shelter? Then after the snow stops, we can try and think of a better idea, Syaoran suggested. Look, there's a house, Tomeo exclaimed. I don't know. It looks rather big and creepy to me. Sakura peered at us suspiciously through her squinting eyes. We have no choice. My arms are about to fall off, and I think I'm going to get frostbite. Let's knock. Boldly, Melanie walked up the creaky front porch and knocked on the wooden door. No answer. She knocked louder. Looks like no one lives here. Sakura walked up as well. Well, I'm opening it. I can't stand it out here. To Melanie's surprise, the door opened easily, and they stepped inside. Hello? Is anyone here? Syaoran called, echoed by a faint here, here, here. Looks like no one lives here. I hope we're not intruding anybody or anything. Syaoran brushed off his coat. We just better make the best of it. Sneezing, Sakura rubbed her bare knees. She was practically numb. Her golden brown hair was plastered to her forehead, while her boots were caked with dirty slush. Let's just go to one of the rooms and stay there together, Tomeo suggested. They entered the dark hallway. Ouch! Someone stepped on my foot, Melanie exclaimed. Hey! Stop shoving the shopping bag in my face, someone else retorted. Whee! Sakura screeched. They all jumped. What is it? They all exclaimed. Something cold touched my neck. Sakura felt her skin prickle. Silly, the snow on your head dripped down. Syaoran shook his head, hiding a smile. Oh, sorry. Cautiously, they entered a large room. Aren't there any switches here? Erika asked. Here's the fireplace, Sakura said. Big help. We don't have any matches or logs. Melanie stumbled in the pitch black. This is kind of creepy. Trying not to squirm, Sakura took a deep breath. It seemed as if anything would pop out of the dark, and things kept on brushing against her leg. Yet, when she concentrated hard enough, she could sense what was around her, though she could not see it. Here, I'll take a look at the fireplace in this room. Syaoran bent over it and poked the fireplace with a ton. Suddenly, it lit up with bright orange flames, crackling merrily. At once, the room was visible, tinted orange-yellow. They could see, though the furniture was old and shabby, they were very expensive. "Hey, how'd you do that?" Arika asked in marvel. "I didn't see any match or wood." Syaoran's sweat dropped. Sakura grinned. His fire magic had always been useful. Together, they gathered in the couches in the center, in front of the warm fireplace. They all sat their shopping things in the middle. Soon, they dried off and had peeled off their coats and sweaters. After a while, Syaoran said, "Here, I'll go see if the storm's stopped yet." "You shouldn't go alone. Go with someone else," Tomeo said. "Sakura, why don't you go with him?" Me? Why?" Sakura stammered. She still felt uncomfortable around him. "You know what? I'll go by myself. I'll be fine." Without waiting for an answer, she bolted out of the room. At that moment, she was frightened. Pitch darkness surrounded her, and she had no sense of direction she came from or which direction to go. Her head spun as she swerved around. She was sure she heard a creaking. Carefully, she walked several steps. Suddenly, she felt a blast of a snowstorm blowing towards her. She walked cautiously to its direction and entered an open-doored room. Squinting, she covered her face with her arms as snow blew to her through an open window. There was a ghostly white figure, an outline of a pale, beautiful girl turned towards her, and her lips moved as if to try to say something. Her white veils whipped around her, while her silvery blonde hair floated. Then she faded away into the open window, which immediately shut itself. Stifling a scream, Sakura stepped back away, then clenched her eyes shut, running in no particular direction. Her legs banged against unstable furniture, and the wooden floor creaked and thumped. Everything was dark, so dark. Who was that? Was she even human? Then, out of instinct, she stopped. A faint light was lit from a room. Maybe this is where everyone is. When she entered, Sakura looked around to see where the flickering light came from. There was a single candle on a table. Then, a dark figure turned around. God, what's taking her so long? Arika asked. Oh, I wonder if she got lost. This is a big house, you know. Tomeo placed her hands to her cheeks, concerned. Maybe there's others in here as well, Edon added. She must be so scared in the dark, all by herself. Malin crossed her legs on the sofa. Right. She's scared of ghosts, too. This house is perfect for her fear, said Tomeo. Who knows? She might be all alone, crying because a coward guy couldn't go along with her, Malin stated, giving a cunning glance sideways. Twiddling his fingers, Syaoran jumped up. I'll go find her. Startled, Sakura stepped back. I'm sorry. I didn't realize someone lived here. There was a storm, so... In a thin voice, the person said, You've come. I've waited for so long. Excuse me? Don't worry. Don't draw back. Come near. Come close to me. I've waited so long. The speaker turned around. His face was pale, as if he hadn't seen sunshine in a long time. His dark hair was tousled. The striking part was his eyes. They were a dark color, reflecting orange candlelight. Yet they were blank, as if the life had gone out of them. Still, that ghostly figure seemed to be only a man in his early 20s, despite the dark shadows cast over his pale face. I'm sorry. I think you've mistaken me for someone else. Timidly, Sakura tried to back away. No, darling. You're the one I've waited for 4 years. Finally, you've come, a sweet, timid girl. You're mine now. Sakura tried to walk out. The door slammed shut. With the strange young man, she was trapped in the eerie room. Please let me go. No, not after all these years. I won't let you go now. From his pocket, he drew out a thick golden ring. Please, accept my present. Sakura's blood felt chill. With compelling eyes, he bore down on her. Though she tried to escape, Sakura found that her feet couldn't move. Who are you? Let me go, please. My friends are waiting. Who am I? His madman's laugh echoed through the room. Yeah, who am I? The real me died 7 years ago. Me? I'm just a shadow, nothing but a body, with no more soul, no more heart, no more compassion. This time, I won't let you go, Fujiko. With bony, hard hands, he grasped her wrist. I'm not Fujiko. Let go of my hand. Not this time. You won't betray me this time. He tried to force the ring onto Sakura's finger. A terror grasped her, and no sound came from her lips. Though she resisted and struggled, his grip on her was like iron. The man seemed possessed and hardly human. No, I won't let you go. I've waited for too long. Let go of me! Desperately, Sakura pushed him. Let go of her now! The door bolted open, and a steady figure stood by the doorway. No, she's mine now. You can't have her. No one can have her except for me. You won't steal Fujiko again this time. Sakura tried to pull her hand away. The figure stepped into the room, and he held out his hand. His sword appeared, and Syaoran snaked the tip of the sword up the man's neck. Let go of her before I use force. She's not the person you're looking for. She's not Fujiko. You're a mere boy. I'm not surprised you came after my girl, but you won't have her this time. With blank eyes, he stared at Syaoran, who stared back with a level gaze. Strange, the man continued with a stupid, puzzled look. Since when did boys go running around with swords? Do you even know how to use it? Falling head over heels, Syaoran retorted, turning tomato red. Of course I do. Who do you think I am? I think you're crazier than me. In a mutter, the man added, Parents these days, what do they do with their children? Toy Chinese blades indeed. Syaoran ignored the man and said, Come on, Sakura, the others are waiting. You leave him. Grasping Sakura's hand, he pulled her away and headed out the door. Oh, no, you won't. You won't escape from me that easily. The haunted man screamed. Sakura turned around to look at him. Impatiently, Syaoran said, Let's get out of here. Don't look back. They ran through the black corridors, Syaoran half dragging Sakura with him. He won't let us go that easily, she said. Hurry, don't think of him, Syaoran said, and continued to walk briskly. They tumbled down the stairs. The floor beneath them gave away. As they lost balance, a cold hand pushed them into a room. Sakura heard a click behind them. Holding up a single candle, the mysterious man said, You stay here till you surrender to me. Let us go! Sakura shouted. She and Syaoran were locked in a dungeon of some kind. When you'll agree to be mine forever, I'll let your friend go. You shall then stay with me. He laughed cruelly, then left, his yellow candlelight fading away. Sighing, Sakura sat down in the dungeon, folding her arms around her knees. Feeling uncomfortable and cold, Sakura opened her mouth. No sound came out. Why had Syaoran came anyway? As if answering her question, Syaoran said, You didn't come back. We got worried. I went looking for you and found you in that situation. Can't you take care of yourself for a moment? It was hard to believe that the others were still there, in the mansion, somewhere. Continuing, Syaoran scolded. You shouldn't have just bolted out like that. It's not safe in a big, strange house like this. Just look what's happening right now. He paused uncomfortably. What would have happened to Sakura? In ways, Sakura wanted to break apart and cry. I was so scared so frightened. Yet she didn't. In her bones, she was still shivering. Her mind had gone blank, and she'd never felt so hopeless. Fujiko, that ghost girl with the sad eyes, 4 years ago, betrayed. Why? Instead, she asked, I was fine. Why did you come? I told you, everyone was worried. Well, now we're both in trouble. I know. We're locked in this dungeon with no keys. Either staying here till God knows when, or you marry that crazy lunatic. We've got to get out. Shifting her position, Sakura said, I'll just tell him that I agree with him. Are you crazy? Well, there's no better plan. Then at least you'll be free. I can find a way to escape him after we get out of here. No. We'll find a safe plan for both of us to get out of this dungeon and this house. I will not let you give in to that madman. For a moment, Sakura was surprised by the emphasis in Syaoran's voice. I'm sorry, she said meekly. Why? I never thought that I'd be locked in a jail dungeon because of me. You're locked in the middle of nowhere, uncomfortable and cold. He interrupted. Don't be. They sat quietly for what seemed like hours. It was damp in the dungeon, and to Sakura, it seemed as if a tiny, unknown creatures were crawling all over the place. Just the thought of it made her feel squeamish. Every creak and sigh of the house were caught in her sensitive ears. Some time ago, her ponytail had been loosened. Now, she was stuck in a situation she most dreaded. For the past several days, she had been avoiding Syaoran. But now, she was stuck in a dungeon with him, with no light, and rats and spiders crawling around her. So uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable being alone with Syaoran-kun. How long do you think we've been here? She asked after a while. I have no idea. Just continue thinking of a workable plan. I can't think when I hear all these uncanny creatures crawling all over the floor. Can you think better if you keep on talking? You know, other human sounds? Probably, she continued. Somehow, I think that man's not a bad one, though. Why? Remember how long ago you said that you can't tell an enemy by looking at them, that they won't always look like the bad person? Roughly, he said. I did. Biting back her dismay. Oh, silly childhood memories. She said, at the camping trip long ago, you know, I was scared of ghosts and I couldn't sleep and we talked. Yeah, so? Syaoran remembered perfectly clearly what she was talking about. I don't think he's a bad person. That's all. Syaoran muttered. Just look at his scary face. Well, keep talking about something. It'll keep you occupied. Yet, Sakura had nothing to say. Nervously, she twiddled with her sweater. They were silent again. When a mouse skittered across her legs, she covered her mouth to stifle a squeal. She would have nightmares for weeks after that night, in the dark. With a soft, smooth voice, altogether different from usual, Syaoran began. Once there was a boy. He was a part of a prominent family clan. They had all high expectations from him. When he was only 3, his father died. His father had always been a role model for him, yet he bore it through. His serious training began. He learned martial arts, sword fighting, spells, as well as normal school life. As Sakura concentrated on his words, in his absorbing voice, she blocked out all other sounds. He continued. His older cousin looked after him like a brother, almost like a father. The boy's immediate family was all female, so he looked up to his cousin as a male. Then one day, when the boy was 9, his cousin died in an accident. Syaoran looked down into his hands. He couldn't tell her about the accident. At first, the boy was at a loss. Then one day, he woke up, realizing that his cousin was gone and that he had to get on with his life. That very day, he heard about the mission to prevent destruction. If his cousin had been alive, he would have gone, yet he was dead. The family clan had a hard time deciding who should go. All the elders were busy and tied up. Then the boy came up. He wanted to go. His life wasn't bad. Actually, it was pretty good, but he needed a change, a challenge, an opportunity to prove himself. The problem was, none of his family really took him seriously. They told him he was too young, that he didn't even pass the ordeal of magic yet. But he insisted. For 6 months, he trained unimaginably hard, pouring all his effort into his studies. Then he took the test, probably the most demanding obstacle of his life. At 10, the boy was the youngest person ever to pass the test. His father had passed when he was 16. Most people in the clan tried in their late 30s. Ever since his cousin died, the boy never smiled and never cried. Mostly, he tried to bottle all his emotions in him. 9 months after the news of the mission to prevent destruction, the boy arrived in Japan. His voice trailed off. At first, Sakura didn't realize what Syaoran was talking about. Then, it struck something in her heart. Hardly ever did he tell her anything about his past life, but now he was telling her an outline of his childhood. It was so different from her own, yet there were similarities as well. Over the past few years, she learned how to keep her emotions inside of her. Yet how hurt he must have been when both his father and his brotherly cousin died. No wonder he never smiled when he first came to Japan. You passed the ordeal of magic when you were only 10? She squeaked. It was completely nerve-breaking. I guess. Syaoran didn't notice that she had switched from the boy to you. How come you didn't have Claride's long ponytail? Huh? I thought it was the Lee's tradition to have the hair when they passed the test. How'd you know about that? My dream. About your father and my mother. His hair got sliced off. You had that dream too. Reflecting pain in his eyes, Syaoran stood up. Ryuren had rejected Nadesco, hurt her, denied her, yet he had loved her all the same. As for my hair, suddenly he turned around, jokingly slapping his forehead. Oh, thank God I didn't grow it, or else I would have had the same hairstyle as that jerk Aaron. Actually, the tradition went down the drain ever since my father's hair sliced off by that whip. Oh, why is he being so nice all of a sudden? Wobbling to her feet, she snapped her fingers. Okay, I have an idea of how to escape without him noticing. Ouch! You stepped on my foot! Sorry, where are you? As she reached out her hand in front of her, she bashed Syaoran's head. Hey, you poked me in the eye! Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry again. Well, okay, this is my plan. When she bent over to whisper her idea to Syaoran, she banged her head against his heart. Ow! Do you have something against me? Then say it. Don't beat me up like this. A super deformed Syaoran rubbed his temple, pouting. Hoi! I didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, right. It's just so dark. And if we make light, he's going to suspect something. Anyway, this is the plan. Whispering to Syaoran. He nodded. With the small card, Sakura made both of them shrink so that they could easily pass through the dungeon bars. When they reached the other side, she used the big to make them their regular size again. Now why didn't I think of that? Syaoran mused. 'Cause maybe it's time to admit that I'm smarter than I look. Sakura grinned. So I'm the stupid one now, huh? Yep. Strangely, she felt happy. Anyway, let's go find the others and get out of here. Don't use light, though, and walk quietly. Tiptoeing, they headed up the stairs. Where are we going? I can't see anything, whispered Sakura.
How did you two escape?
A voice boomed behind them. Sakura and Syaoran's hair stood up on their end, and they both started running with sweat drops. The door behind them closed once more, and they realized that they were in a different room this time.
Where are you? I demand you let us go,
Syaoran demanded, facing the wall because of the darkness. Tapping his shoulder, Sakura whispered, I think it's the other way around.
I knew that. It's Chinese custom to face the other way when challenging.
Syaoran weakly tried to cover up his embarrassment. Sakura just shook her head, clearly disbelieving. The ghostly young man held out a single candle.
Didn't I tell you that you can't escape from me, Fujiko? You betrayer! You devil!
I'm not Fujiko. We're just junior high students who happened to come to your house because there was a storm. Feeling for the doorknob, Sakura desperately twisted it. Whoever Fujiko is, just snap out of it. She wouldn't like you being so desperate. And if you really loved her, you wouldn't be doing this.
Love?
For a moment, the man's blank eyes snapped to life. Then he gave a hysterical laugh.
Love, you say? Poor Thane, I have no heart. I don't have love, only hate, revenge. I'll get her back for what she did to me.
Softly, Sakura murmured, What could she have done to you to make you hate her so much?
She betrayed me for another man.
The man took out a knife and threw it at their direction. Quickly, Syaoran pushed him and Sakura away, and the knife whizzed past them, embedding itself into the door. They grasped their heart, which pumped up and down from their narrow escape, somewhat looking like scared puppies. You're scared, right? Sakura whispered to the corner of her mouth.
No, who said I'm scared? Syaoran stammered back.
Then why are your teeth chattering?
So are yours. Listen to me, the man shouted. Do you want to hear my story or not?
Ah! Syaoran and Sakura screamed. They directed their fullest attention to him.
Do you see the picture?
Holding up his candle high, the man drew aside a thick curtain. Revealed was a large picture of a beautiful girl with long golden hair and a bright smile, leaning her head against a handsome young man's broad shoulders. Wow, they look so happy and beautiful together, Sakura awed.
Who is that handsome young man? Syaoran asked, stroking his chin.
The man, sweat dropped.
That's me, stupid! You?
Syaoran's lips twitched, and his expression was aghast, turning shades of blue. It was hard to believe the good-looking man with the dark, glossy hair and romantic smile was the same pale, ghostly, scary-looking man.
You don't believe me?
The man challenged, poking his pale, shadowed face in front of them, his candle lit underneath it. We do. Both Sakura and Syaoran backed away.
Not. Now, to the point. After all our time together, Fujiko left me.
His voice was broken.
We used to be the happiest couple. I was an old, rich family's only son, while she was a poor girl. My parents didn't approve of her, but we didn't care. I was willing to give up everything for her. If only I could be with her forever. I wanted to make her happy. Then one day, right before Christmas on a stormy night, she left me. She eloped with another man.
How do you know she eloped? Syaoran demanded. What's lope? Sakura whispered. Is it a type of fruit? Syaoran fell head over heels.
Stupid, that's cantaloupe, a type of melon. Elope means to run away in a forbidden marriage.
So if she can't elope, then she turns into a melon?
Hoi! Her expression was very muddled. Sighing in exasperation, Syaoran asked, Are you stupid or something? Then he continued to the man. Maybe she didn't run away with another man. You have no evidence. Oh, I know what a low, vulgar girl Fujiko was. For months she seemed sort of spaced out and tried to avoid me, and she ran away from me several days before our wedding. I hate her. I loathe her with all of my heart.
Yet, Sakura said quietly, you still love her. If she would only come back to you, that's all you ask for. With wide, open brown eyes, the man murmured to himself, I still love her. Choked up, Sakura stated, I don't get it. How could such a happy couple detour off? There must be an explanation. You must be mistaken.
There is no mistake, he answered bitterly. Longingly, he stroked the picture. Shaking her head, Sakura persisted. There must be a mistake.
I may be young and not very experienced, yet I know about love. In that picture, I see happiness, and I know that you must have loved her once. You loved her so much that it has turned into hate. Yet the hate is still love, deep beneath the many layers of your heart.
Syaoran added, She's right about that. Get a grip and wake up from the nightmare you created upon yourself. Wherever Fujiko-san is, if she's alive, she wouldn't love a man that turns to revenge and hate. Though I don't know much, I know that life is a one-chance opportunity. Either take it or leave it. There's no turning back. So I advise, take it without any regrets.
Glancing up at Syaoran, Sakura thought to herself, life is a one-chance opportunity. There's no turning back. That ghost girl she saw, with sad eyes and long silvery blonde hair, she was sure that the ghost had been Fujiko, and that she'd been trying to tell her something. Spreading out her palm in front of her, she concentrated her power.
What do you think you're doing? Syaoran demanded.
I'm finding out the truth. Fujiko-san would never have betrayed him.
You're trying to see the past?
Yes, without my cards.
You know, it would be much easier just to use a return. Without it, it'll be hard.
No, I want to use my powers like my mother did. Ignoring the twitching in her, Sakura looked back in her mind, closing shut her eyes. An image formed in her mind. Her voice came out soft and uncanny. I see a couple. They're so happy together. Yet the young man's parents don't like the girl. They want someone rich. The man's eyes widened. Clenching his fist, he listened. Yet the couple love each other and want to be with each other forever. Even though the young man's parents threatened the girl, she believed that they could bear it through together. Before their wedding, she often felt confused. That's what made her so quiet and subdued. She needed time to think of whether or not the marriage was really best for her lover. She was willing to give up her happiness to create a peaceful, plentiful life for her love. Meanwhile, the young man just grew suspicious of her. Then one day, she was coming back after buying him a Christmas present. She was happy, oh so happy, for she had a dream of a happy, peaceful life ahead of them, together. Then, a great misfortune came. As she was walking home, a car whizzed by. Trying to step back, her foot slipped on the bridge, and she plunged into the icy river. When she realized her body was all numb and she was going to die, her last words were, "I love you, and I'll wait till we can join once more." Then she closed her beautiful starry eyes forever, a sad smile playing on her lips. At that, the man gave a gasp, then clutched his heart and his eyes blurred.
So, she didn't betray me for another man. She...
The man rotted inside with misunderstanding. When his lover didn't return, he took for granted that she had betrayed him, for another man. He was full of rage and revenge. In the 4 years his parents died in a car accident, the state was left to him while he was engulfed with blackness and hatred. Sadly, Sakura paused. Fujiko must have been so pained living in such misunderstandings. Come on, let's leave. Sakura and Syaoran tried to walk out. Wait, you two. The man looked up. A sudden change dawned upon his face. His eyes were clear, reflecting life once more. While his face gained color, one could see that he was meant for life and excitement, not enclosure and death. I'm sorry for all you had to see. I see now what a fool I have been. For 4 years I was blinded by my confusion, yet now you've given me hope again. I have a reason to live. I'm still young, and Fujiko will always be beside me. All this time, she never left me or stopped loving me. I beg her forgiveness for ever even doubting her for a moment. I should have known from the beginning that she would never love another man and betray me. Even if she did, I should have given her freedom and my unchangeable love. If she would love someone else, I would let her gain her happiness. Yet if I see a glimmer of hope, I would patiently wait till she turns to me once more. All I ask is forgiveness now. Warmly taking his hands, Sakura said, My mother died when I was a child, yet I know she's with me, watching over my family. I'm sure Fujiko-san is doing the same. So go out and see the sunshine once more. Don't let darkness wrap you in its trap. You've taught me a lot as well. See, she swished open the curtain. The storm was over. Outside, the world was a silvery wonderland with a thick blanket of snow. A gust of fresh breeze blew inside, giving life and freshness to the room. Thank you. Thank you. You two are still young. I don't know what sort of people you are, magic and swords. Maybe you two are angels from heaven, but may you be blessed with happiness. As long as you survive together till the end, even if you face great hardships and misunderstanding, just wait till the sun turns to you once more. He stared out at the bright new day ahead of him. What time is it? Sakura asked, looking at his digital watch. Syaoran answered, Nearly 4. We better go back and find the others. We have school tomorrow. Today. Hoi! Wait up! Whoa, don't run. You're going to slip again. I can't even run if I even want to because of the skirt. Girls, them and their fashion. Look who's talking. They reached the end of the hallway. Looking back at the door, Sakura waved, then smiled. Slowly smiling back, the young man waved back. In ways, he envied those two, even though they had a hard obstacle in front of them. Fingering the framed photo of him and Fujiko, he murmured, I love you, Fujiko Kinomoto. Where have you two been all night? Malin asked. Syaoran, darling, don't tell me it took you that long to find Sakura-chan and bring her back safely. Sighing, Syaoran replied, It's a long story. Well, the storm stopped, so we can go home. More like go to school now. Sakura stretched, then rubbed her eyes. Gosh, I spent the whole night without sleeping. I called my bodyguard some time ago, and they should pick us up, Tomeo said. I hope the van will fit all our stuff, added Eureka. But I still don't know how you two came back just now. Yeah, we were all worried. Syaoran-san is no help sometimes. Eran grinned lazily. I know, Sakura agreed heartily. Oh, thanks a lot, Syaoran retorted. He was about to say more, then stopped. Somehow, he thought, somehow my life keeps on changing so fast that my body can hardly keep up with it, but who am I inside? Good grievance.
And I'm the one who said life was a one-chance opportunity. Either take it or leave it.
Before they left the large mansion, Sakura gazed back at the open window. Through it, she could see a happy-looking young man. Strangely, now that she saw him again, he didn't look plain and ghostly, but strong and handsome. She could see another angelic figure with long golden hair kissing the man's forehead softly. Sakura's eyes met Fujiko's. Fujiko mouthed the words, "Thank you." For a moment, Sakura felt giddy, warmth in her heart. Suddenly, Sakura exclaimed, "Oh, no! I forgot to ask his name."
"Whose name?"
asked Eran. "The name of... The car seems to be here," Syaoran said out loud. Trying not to hit herself over the head for being such a blabbermouth, Sakura said, I don't think spending the night like this is good for me. I get so absent-minded. Sakura-chan looked so dismayed. Tomeo took out her video camera. "Sakura-san! Sakura-san! Kenomoto-san!" the sensei shouted. "Hey, wake up!" Arika whispered to her. "Oh, my head is spinning. It's so dark. I can't see." "Ah! Let go of me!" Sakura bolted up. Her teacher backed away, aghast. "Sorry." Sakura had gotten home around 5 a.m., changed, then headed back to school. Luckily, her brother had been away for the weekend, so he wasn't there to scold her. To her father, she told him that she had stayed at Tomeo's because of course, the storm, and because of the storm, she couldn't contact him. Breaking his chalk, the teacher trembled with anger. "Lee-san!" Syaoran's head was dropped over his desk. Malin kicked him, though she was barely able to keep her eyes open.
"Leave me alone, Malin,"
Syaoran crossly muttered, shifting his head into his arms. "Wake up!" With full force, Malin slapped a rolled-up newspaper on his head. "Hey, what you think you're doing?" Syaoran asked angrily, fully awake, as he snatched it away and brought it down hard on the teacher's head. Then he cowered back under his desk as the teacher barked at him. After finishing writing text on the chalkboard, the teacher turned around again. Choking, he glared around to see any more sleeping students. Cracking his chalk, he shouted, "Kenomoto, Lee, Chain, all of you, after school duty." Sakura, Syaoran, Eran, Malin, and Arika woke up, alert, very dismayed. Only Tomeo hadn't been sleeping. The whole class held out an umbrella to block the spray of saliva as their sensei shouted. "Hoi, I think that scary mansion is better than this class," Sakura moaned. She thought and sighed. "I'm so glad for that couple. They waited for so long, and finally they are together in soul."